productivity tips have you tried? How many productivity tips actually worked for you? Hey there, I'm Esty Rappaport, your host of the Life Fix University podcast and a productivity coach to help you become more efficient and effective. At Life Fix University, we believe on working on the core of your issues instead of putting on a Band-Aid so you could become more efficient and effective. And after the last episode with Nikki, I just had to do an episode to clarify some things. There are so many times if you try to be productive, I know you're not listening to this because you haven't tried. You spent time, you spent money, and you spent energy. And for some reason, you're still feeling overwhelmed. You're still finding yourself procrastinating, and you still feel like you can't get your life together. Now, there's nothing wrong with you. And maybe listening to the episode with Nikki made you feel frustrated. She's telling you to go and plan. And you may have had a hard time planning. You may have tried it once, you may have tried it twice, and maybe even for multiple weeks, but it didn't work for you. That is because just planning without rewiring your brain first is not going to work, because your brain is wired one way, and trying to set up these plans to work for you is just not going to happen. So I wanted to clarify what I liked about what she said, what I didn't like about what she said, and what I think you can do to actually help yourself. Okay. Nikki gave us some really good tips on being productive, like planning your day before, understanding your mindset, trying to see what else is happening. What is going on? What's your roadblocks? Like not using your phone, turning off those notifications, or planning things like that. Now, that's great. But imagine there's a cup that has holes inside. So whatever you pour inside that cup is going to come out of those holes. You're not going to be able to be productive no matter how many times you plan. Okay. So what you have to do first is fill up those holes. By filling up those holes, what you do is every time you pour something in the cup, it actually stays in the cup. So how do you fill up the holes in your brain? Your cup is the brain, and those holes are your cognitive functions. Okay. Cognitive functions are the things that make up thinking. There are 28 cognitive functions, and when one of them are weak, it affects all other areas of your life. So what you've got to do first is improve those cognitive functions, and then you can go and put in those productivity tips that you've been trying your whole life, that you've been putting so much effort, those books that you read, those podcasts I listened to, or those tips that Nikki said on the previous episode. Okay. So your challenge for today is to understand that there's nothing wrong with you, but you can't stay like this. You've got to do your part on rewiring your brain so that way you can become better. And B is you are going back to pick two other Rewire Brain episodes, previous episodes, because Rewire Brain episodes focus specifically on cognitive functions. You are going to go back to any two episodes and work on those cognitive functions in those episodes. Now, you might find it super easy for you, and you might find it harder for you, because different people have different strengths and weaknesses, and all of them. We all have some strengths and some weaknesses. So you're going to pick them, you're going to try it out, and you're going to see where you are in it. If you're good, awesome. If you need help in it, go and practice it. Okay. So you go and do that. If you have any questions, go to lifefixuniversity.com/podcast. And on the podcast page, there's a place to put in all your questions, put them there. And I would love to answer them for you on another Rewire Your Brain episode. Have an awesome rest of your day. Remember to work with your brain and not against your brain. And I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of the Life Fix University podcast, but I have a huge favor to ask of you that will not only support the show, but will also help the people you love most. We are striving for 1 million downloads by the end of 2025, and we can't do this without your help. If you love this episode, please share it with 2 of your family and friends so they too can rewire their brains to have an extraordinary marriage. It was awesome spending time with you, and I'll see you on the next episode.